Stop with the prompts.
Illustrations by me.
Listen, we all know those groups that they do, oh, let's paint the same, hey, I'll give you a list of things for the next 30 days for you to paint. And so that's what you do, you follow the prompts. Let me tell you, this is not good for anybody. I'm going to explain to you why you should never do that. It sucks the creativity right out of you. And then it does nothing else for you. I'll explain the whole thing. We'll get right into the video though. What? Does that sound a little bit too angry to you? I wasn't trying to be angry. That's how it came out. It bothers me. It's my producer. There's not really anybody there. That's a grumpy little mother, I'll tell you that. Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm giving you advice that I myself cannot take, and it's a little hypocritical, but I mean, I can take it. I do take the advice, but you can't see me take the advice, because if you saw me take the advice, then you wouldn't want to watch me take the advice. It's hard to explain, so let me just get right into it. So why do we look for prompts or groups that do prompts? And I'll tell you, there are barriers to creating art. That's what they are. Well, you want to know what a barrier is. So a barrier is anything that sits between you and actually creating the art, such as not having a desk set up to create, or to clear the spot to work on. You go get your supplies. You have to set up your supplies, whether it's get some water and like water buckets and a rag for watercolor. You got to fill your pens if you do fountain pen drawing, or you have to paint. You got to fill your paint palette if you do acrylics. You got to set up all your paints. And even if this only puts like 5 minutes between you sitting down and actually starting to create, your mind turns this into about an hour and a half of pushing a boulder up a hill. So the best way to create is to remove the barrier, so that you can just, when you have the urge, you just sit down and create. Now, one way to do that is to follow prompts. And it's one less thing you need to decide on. It's one less thing you need to make a decision on. It gets you to making the art quicker. So why do I have a problem with them? Well, in short, I don't. Listen, I know it sounds like I do, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't have a problem with prompts. What I have a problem with is daily prompts. Here's why. I'm one of those people who enjoys creating something new or using new medium to create all the time. However, I would never improve at all at anything if I did that all the time, and I just always switched what I was doing every time I sat down. So I've come up with a solution. Use a prompt, but stick to it for at least a week or a month if you really have that kind of focus. Sometimes I don't know if I have that kind of focus, but I can definitely commit to doing the same thing for a week. So pick a subject or a medium, and you design something using that medium, and you do that for a whole week, but alter it a little bit. So maybe add like a second medium that goes with it, or like if you're using watercolor, maybe you grab some colored pencils to put on top of them. And the next time you use the watercolor, use ink. And the next time you use watercolor, put a little bit of acrylic paint on top. But stick with the one thing at least, so you can learn it and how to go about it. Or you might go the design a little different every time. Maybe you're trying, okay, this time I'm going to use the rule of thirds, and then this time I'm not. I'm going to try and put it in the center and see how that looks. And just do, but you're creating a similar object or a similar subject, or you're using a similar medium, and you're doing it that way. Because if you just aimlessly create, you're never really improving. You're going to struggle this time. You're going to get something down. Maybe it looks good, maybe it doesn't, but you go on to something else. You have no time to improve. You're not pulling it into the next one and saying, okay, I could do a little bit more here, do a little bit different here, and see if I can improve it a little bit. And just do that a few times. Now, I struggle with this, and you have no idea how much, but I do. So I like to move from thing to thing. So what I do now, this is what I'm trying to do. And I think it's working. I try and experiment every piece that I do, but now I'm focusing on one thing at a time, and I think I'm seeing some improvement every once in a while. I think I'm seeing, okay, I did this 10 times, and now I could pick one that I actually really like of the 10 that I did. So that's a good thing. It gives me something to pull from the next time I do that. And maybe I'll go longer than a week. Maybe I'll do 2 weeks or something. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. But what I know is I don't necessarily use prompts all the time. I stick with one thing at least for a week. That's the point. So I'm not using a prompt or something because I don't necessarily need that. But if I really had no idea what to do, I do have a list of ideas to draw. So I always have a list to pull from. It's just when I get an idea, I write it down so I don't get stuck in that way. But I'd rather stick my finger in honey and jam it into a fire ant hill than do something for a month straight. I don't think I can handle it. But I think I can definitely commit to doing it for a week. And I know I can because I've done it. And that's what I've been doing recently. But I can't show you because then I'd just be doing the same thing. Every time you flip it on, you'd see the same drawing over and over and over. And I don't want to, not the exact same drawing, but you know what I mean. You'd basically see the same thing over and over. I like to separate it for you a little bit, maybe do something a little different. Like this time, I decided to use a water-soluble pencil that's colored. It's the Inktense line, and a lot of people don't like it that much, but listen, it does give you a little bit more control over a situation when you're using a pencil to draw exactly where you want to draw it. And then I go in with the water brush and I blend it out a little bit, and I didn't use wonderful colors that are very bright and vibrant. I used a very dull color here, but I was really taking a stone. The whole point of this was to take a stone piece, it looks like a stone whatever, a stone formation or something like that, and turn it into wood. And that was my goal, was to turn stone into wood and see if I can create that. That was the whole point here. So that's exactly what I did. But my goal here was to use a water-soluble pencil for the control and to use that. And so I did this, and I did this for a week. And I did different pieces. And I think it came out very nice. I enjoyed the way it came out. I think I learned some things. This is the first one I did. So this one isn't as good as maybe some of the other ones that I have that I did later on, which I'm not showing you. But the point is, I think it worked out fairly well, and I learned so much from doing this for a week straight. More than I would have if I just would have done this piece and went straight to the next one. I've been making a little bit more time for art, trying to create a little bit more. I may not do that all the time, but it's something I suggest you do. Just get into a habit of doing something for a week straight and just see if you improve. Different pieces. And by the time you're done with the last one you did, you're like, oh, okay, I think I get the hang of this for a little while. And then you can go on to something else if you need to. Some people don't, some people do. Go on to something else for a little while and then come back to it the next time and do another few pieces, see if you learn something. I just did that video a few weeks ago about how, you can improve and you may not see it because you're just going piece to piece and you're just comparing the first piece to the second piece to the third piece, and you don't really see it because it could be micro improvements versus when you first started something and you really improve a great deal. Maybe this is one way that you can see some improvement, is that you do something for maybe 5, 6, 7 times in a row, and then it's okay. You get through it and you're like, oh, I actually see some improvement from the first piece to the last piece during this whole week. Or whatever, 2 weeks, a month. If you can go a month, do it. But I can't do that. It's too much for me. Now my brain's just about to make a really hard right turn here, so just bear with me. Now is it just me, or is there always that one person in the neighborhood, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and they start their lawnmower, and you're just thinking to yourself, are they mowing the lawn in the dark? Is that what they're doing? Is this some weird thing that they have to do, that they just can't sleep? They just think about the grass is growing in their mind, and they just think, the grass is growing, I have to go outside and I have to mow the lawn, even though it's dark out. It's right now, I hear a lawnmower outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but I hear a lawnmower outside, It's about 11:30 at night, and there's a lawnmower that was turned on, and someone is mowing their lawn. And they're not just mowing their lawn. They're going to do the whole thing. They're going to mow their lawn. They're going to weed whack around the edges. They're going to use the edger on the edge of their sidewalk and driveway. And then they're going to use the blower and blow everything off in the middle of the night. Now, it's a Friday night for me when I'm recording this, so it doesn't really matter for me, but I'm just saying this is really, it's not a good thing to do. It's not a good neighborly thing to do. Maybe they have a weird work schedule. That could happen. I've worked some weird work schedules before, but I've always been considerate and waited till I had a day off to do it during a normal hour so that I'm not disturbing the entire neighborhood at 11:30 at night mowing my lawn. I don't understand. And let me tell you, I have a neighbor that gets a little eccentric with the blower too. It's a different neighbor, but they go outside and they start using that blower. It's an electric one, so they push the button to turn it on and off, and you just hear it. It's like a vacuum turning on and off constantly. And they do that for like 2 hours straight. They're out there blowing the road. They clear the road. They clear the other side of the street. They clear their neighbor's lawn. They're just blowing everything everywhere. I don't understand. It's like an obsession that they have. And everybody has their own little thing. That's fine. But it's just it's like, it's just constantly going on and off. And it's just does that for hours. It's the most annoying thing. The other day, I thought I was done. I was, okay, me and my wife were going to go out and get a little something to eat. And I thought it was going on for like 2 hours. I was like, oh, good, it's finally done. I open the door, I walk out, and there the neighbor is at a different neighbor's house blowing their lawn off. I don't understand what's happening. Stop doing that. This is a very weird thing to do. You're just obsessed with that blower constantly. Don't even mow the lawn that long, but the blower is all over the place. Can't stop. Goes down all the sidewalk all around the whole neighborhood. Just calm down a minute. Just do what you're doing and be done. Let everybody else do their own yard. It's probably fine that way. That had nothing to do with the prompts, but sometimes I feel prompted to say something, so I'm not going to, but it's very obnoxious. Be a little considerate if you're a neighbor. That's all. So thumb up the video if you are going to maybe still use prompts, but you're going to do them for like a full week or so, and get a few different things done and try and actually improve in what you're doing instead of just going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and you're sucking out all this creativity because you're trying to figure out how you're going to make this prompt a thing, and then by the time you're done with it, you're too tired to do the next one, and you feel all this stress like you have to create another one and you didn't learn anything from the last one. And just calm down for a second, relax. Tell whatever group that's doing that to you to go suck an egg. Just relax for a minute, and you have to just gather your thoughts, and you want to learn a little bit. So you're going to practice a couple different things on the same subject or whatever it is, the same medium, and you're going to learn a little bit. All right, so if you would like to join our community, go to illustrationsbypete.com. You can come in, you can put your own artwork on the site and promote it. You can find some inspiration in the free reference photos. You can just use them however you want in your artwork. You do not need to credit me. Or you can come into the forums and talk to some people and maybe give some advice and maybe find a little bit of information that helps you. So come check us out. All right, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one.